Welcome back to The Person Everyone Needs. I am Webb Hoggard, and today, since this will be aired on April Fool's Day, today's talk is actually going to be on the person no one needs. So let's talk about some things about the person that no one needs. So no matter who you are, where you're at in your life, you might be taking care of other people. They may be very thankful to have you in their life. They may be looking over your shoulder, trying to do what they can to encourage you. But let me just tell you one of the things that no one needs. The first one on my list is no one needs a worrier. A worrier. Worry produces nothing. I know many of us have convinced ourselves that our high levels of anxiety, our high levels of nervousness, our high levels of worry, what they produce is a readiness, but worry does not ready you. It only exhausts your body. You need to be prepared for whatever's taking place, but it doesn't require worry to prepare. It doesn't require worry to get ready. And so worry is not helpful to anyone. How about the person, have you ever had a dream or a thought about doing something, and you go to someone and you say, hey, I was thinking about heading this direction. What are your thoughts on that? And immediately they begin to pop every balloon they possibly can find. Well, you can't do that because this might cost something. You can't do that because this might be bad. The person who is constantly thinking about litigation, which you need that. You do have to have somebody who's thinking about all the problems, but the truth is, if you're the one who's the worrier, who's always able to see all the problems, you probably also think that not many other people can see it. And you might even think to yourself that you're pretty doggone smart because you're able to see where the issues are, you're able to see where the problems are, you're able to see what other people might have an issue with. Being able to quickly identify problems is not a superpower. It's pretty much what everybody's able to do. It's kind of amazing that we can dream at all because of how easy it is for us to talk ourselves out of doing anything that is positive. Because of being able to see the negatives of what is possible, we often opt out of what could happen because all we're worried about is what we're not sure, exactly what's going to happen. So my first thought is that the person that no one needs is the worrier. You say, well, that's not fair. I know some people who worry. Yeah, well, I'm sure you're grateful to have them in your life. I'm not telling you to cut these people out of your life or anything like that, but I'm just telling you today, if you're wanting to be the person that everyone needs, you need to put in the place of worrying about what could happen is worshiping what has happened, worshiping the God who's already done what has happened, and trusting that it's in his hands that you put your life for tomorrow. Well, that just sounds so religious and so Jesus. I'm just telling you that you have a choice to be made. You can either worry about your life or you can worship the God who gave you this life. And those are really your two options, because what worry does say to God is that you haven't prepared me enough, you haven't done enough, that I don't think you're good enough to help me if I get to a certain point and I don't know what I'm doing. So worry communicates to God that I'm not really sure about what you've got for me and if it's good. So you may be saying, well, that's not what I mean when I'm worrying. That's not what I'm thinking. But I know that that's not what the heart of your worry is. You just want to be ready for every possible issue or concern. But the worriers are communicating to those around them that I don't think we're strong enough or good enough or have enough to make it through if something exactly right doesn't happen. So the person that no one needs is the worrier. The second group that no one needs is the judger, or the judge. Let me say it that way, because we act like it takes a phenomenal person to be a judge. You ever watch these The Voice or American Idol or something like that, and you think to yourself, man, how cool would it be to sit on that panel and judge all these people that are putting their heart out on the line. They've got their dreams, they've packed up their dreams and brought them in or whatever. And so you got this idea of like, man, look how it must be such a joy to be smart enough to judge. It takes zero skill to be able to judge something well, to be able to decide if something is good or bad, or if it's not your cup of tea, or to decide that something, hey, I have this thing about me that I like to listen to those shows and then let everybody know when some note is off. And I'm like, oh, I really can't handle it when off note. Like how easy it is for us to listen to someone sing the national anthem and you're enjoying it. Like, wow, this person really knows what they're doing until they hit a flat note. And then it's kind of like, hey, I heard a flat note. You know, we act like it takes a major skill to be able, just because not everybody is able to judge in the same way we are, does not mean that it's a skillful position to be able to judge others. Judging others is simple. It's easy. It's the thing that becomes the most natural for us. It is more difficult for us to recognize positive things. It is very easy for us to recognize negative things in other people. So, hey, maybe you've got a judgmental spirit. And you say to yourself, well, maybe I've got a problem with it, or this is just who I am. All of us are judgmental. All of us have in ourselves thinking that we are able to pay attention to things that other people cannot pay attention to. I'm just telling you today, no one needs a judge. They need a fan. They don't need a judge. You say, well, Webb, how are you going to get better if no one's ever telling you what to do? I can tell you the person who's just sitting back and judging me is not the person I'm going to ask for help anyway. So Simon Cowell is not the coach that I want in my life. You know, you're horrible. You just it's the worst thing I've ever had. Like I'm not interested in Simon Cowell's imprint on my life to get better. I'm going to tell you, I don't think Simon Cowell will ever be on The Voice. He's not a coach. He's just a judge. And remember a few years ago when Donald Trump had his own TV show, The Apprentice, and he was known as the guy who just screamed, you know, you're fired. Hey, that didn't get him a lot of friends, and I understand. I'm okay with, you know, you're fired being the thing that is said to me if I'm not good enough, or you know, however you want to look at that verbiage. But the judge is someone who nobody needs in their life, because we're all very aware of how unproductive, unhelpful that we are in our own lives. And so the one who's just sitting back in your life trying to remind you again and again about how you failed and how many ways you're not meeting par, it's not the person that you need in your life. You don't, and I'm not saying that you only need fans. I'm just telling you that the person that people are looking for is not the judge. So we all have the judgmental streak. We all, really what it comes down to is pride. It's this sense of that I know something you don't know, or I'm very intelligent and you could use my information. If only you knew what was going on, if only you could see what I see. There's this attitude of I know something you don't know. And it really comes down to pride. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, the person that no one needs is a judgmental, prideful person who thinks that they can see something no one else can. The last person that I want to tell you about, the person that no one needs, here on this April Fool's Day of, I know this is the podcast that is for the person that everyone needs. So today I'm doing the opposite of the person that no one needs. But the one I would say, the last thing that no one needs is the contrarian. All right. My belief is that most of you on here are Christians, and I just know that in the church, this is kind of one of people's favorite things to be. All right, so here's the thing. Somebody comes to you and they say, I think I've met the person of my dreams. I think I have fallen in love, you know, and you start asking them questions. You know, tell me about this person. They'll be like, oh, well, they're a real young person, and you start saying, ooh, young people are dumb. Okay, all right, so let's put that in there. Yeah, he's from this town. Oh, every person I've met from that town doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah, and this is their family. I've heard of that last name. I know that issue is going to be here, there, and the other. And you begin to create this whole big picture of what needs to be changed in this other person. And so you become the contrarian. While they're excited, you're like, oh, I don't know. I'd be afraid of this person, or I don't know. I'd be sad. How about the person who something bad has happened to and they've come to you crying and you're like, hey, look at the bright side. It could be this way. We're the contrarians so often. We want to just give the opposite opinion of what is happening right in front of us. And so let me just tell you today, the person that no one needs is a contrarian. The Bible tells us to laugh with those who laugh, mourn with those who mourn. If someone is crying, first of all, let me tell you, Christians do this all the time. If somebody is mourning that a loss of somebody, there'll be a Christian somewhere that's like, hey, you should be thankful. You know, they're in a better place. Well, I'm not worried about that the fact that they're in a better place, I'm missing them. Just sit with me and cry with me, or sit with me while I cry, but I don't need an opinion or a thought about how it could be different or how it could be better or how I should be thinking of it differently. What I need right now is someone who sees me right where I'm at. How about the person who comes in with good news, and you want to cheer and you be like, hey, I just got a new house. Well, I sure hope with the way the interest rates are now, I bet that's a really tough place to be. I wonder, oh, you got a bigger house? I bet it's going to be a hard thing to kind of try to clean. We always just seem to have a contrary opinion. What if you were to become someone that you would match somebody's energy in whichever direction, instead of being the contrary and being the person who cheers with them when they want to cheer and cry with them when they want to cry? Be what people need more than being their balance. We are not called to be their counterweight. We are not called to be contrarians. We're called to be what people need. The person that everyone needs is someone who worships instead of worries, that they support and coach instead of judge, and lastly, they're not the contrarian. They're a complementarian, someone who is constantly encouraging and seeing the positives coming. That's what the person that everyone needs. Somebody in your life right now that matches what I just said. I'm not telling you to confront that person and let them know, what they need to be doing one way or another. But for yourself, just choose for yourself that I'm not going to be the contrary, the counterbalance, the counterweight for someone else. I'm going to be the person who is adding to them, building them up, helping them multiply their successes, and then dividing or halving their difficult times. Miss Sherrill, my pastor's wife growing up, she used to say that a friend brings, when they're hurting, it's half a hurt, but when they're cheering or when the joy, it's twice a joy. That's what it means to be the person that everyone needs. You want to double people's joy and half their hurts. And if you're still with me on the person that everyone needs, let me be the person that you need to encourage you. In a couple of weeks is Easter. I hope that you will find a church family to be with on Easter Sunday. I hope you'll wear your best and you'll go in expecting to receive from God, and that He would meet you in that moment. Perhaps if you're needing your life changed, I hope that you'll receive that in fullness. And let's pack out the church. Let's allow God to minister to us in powerful ways this Easter. God bless you.